Effective Communication. I will be meeting you again and troubling you for 2 more sessions, which is Effective Communication 2 and Interview Readiness. Okay. So now, as far as Effective Communication 1 is concerned, we're going to be focusing on the art of creating an impact and making communication effective. Before we get into the session, for those of you who haven't attended a session of mine before, hello, my name is R.C. Venkatesh. I am here simply because I love communicating and I pretty much made a career out of it. I am a social media strategist. I am a resume writing expert. Basically, I'm a writer at large, okay? And that's how I communicate mostly, apart from, trying to speak and trying to help people speak. So I've been helping, speaking of helping, I've been helping brands, creators, and people communicate effectively for over 4.5 years now. And yeah, so in case any of y'all want to get in touch with me or check out what other services I offer, you can, head into the links that I'm going to be dropping on the chat box right now. The first one is a link to my LinkedIn profile for those of you who want to stay connected on LinkedIn. The second one is that of my Instagram profile. Those of you who are all, addicted to reels like I am and want to stay connected on Instagram, you can connect with me there, although I'm not very active in there. And the third one is, interestingly, my TalkMate services page. That will take you to a host of services and other stuff that I offer. So take your time and go through it at your own pace and own time after the session. And with that said, let's begin with the basics of communication. And before we step into the session, I absolutely want you guys to keep your video on and be on your toes. This is a communication session. You are here to be able to communicate effectively and more confidently at the workplace. And communication is one of those, one of those things that get better only by doing, right? You can't just learn about it and expect to be better. You have to do it. It's like writing. You can't just know the theory of it and write better. You end up writing better only by writing as many times as possible, right? So I need you guys to be on your toes. I need this to be a very interactive session. Please stop me in between and ask me to repeat anytime you need. I'm always here to help, and I'm always here to, take your feedback and act on it even immediately. So please feel free. And everyone, just unmute. Let's play a very quick game to get started. And I know it's Monday. I know you all had enough work at home and probably at office too. So let's just all wake up and have a metaphoric coffee right now. So unmute and let's play a very quick game. Yeah, are you all ready? Do I have everyone here? Yeah. So it's a very simple game. Okay. When I say Marco, you say Polo. Okay. If I say Polo, you say Marco. If I say Marco Polo, you say Polo Marco. Basically, you just say the opposite of what I say. Do you get it? You understand? That cool? All right. So let's start. Marco.
Yes.
Polo.
Polo.
Polo. Marco Polo.
Marco.
Marco Polo Polo.
Marco.
Okay, I think it's been a cacophony. I can't hear it, but I want to, get that energy going. So, Polo, Marco. Polo, right. Marco.
Polo.
Polo.
Marco.
Marco.
Polo.
Polo, Marco Polo.
Marco Polo.
Okay, I think everyone is awake and thriving. So let's all please go back to being on mute and unless asked to unmute, that'll be easy for everyone else to hear me also. And I'm also human. Like I said, I have the attention span of a goldfish, which is very, 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 very small, right? So the more I hear something, I'm gonna be distracted. So that said, I love all your beautiful smiles. Thanks for keeping your video on. Let's begin the session with a very simple question. Okay, I'm just going to be randomly picking people and asking you to talk. Just talk. Don't be, the more you do it, the less inhibitions you'll have, right? So let's start with the top person on my list, and the first Payashwini I know. Hi, Payashwini.
Hello, Aarti.
Good morning. Good morning. So, what
Good
what
morning.
is communication? What does communication mean to you?
It's commonly, if you say, it's an interaction between two people to know
Right.
each other better way. Yeah, effective
Okay, it's an
communication.
interaction. It's an
Yeah.
interaction. Okay, and what? So let me ask somebody else now. And who's there? Kavita. Hi, Kavita. Right. So,
Hello.
Kavita, what do you think makes communication good or bad? And also, everyone, can you please stay on mute? I can still hear a lot of noises in the background. Yeah, thank you very, very much. And I'm so sorry. Please, Kavita, go on.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Payashwini in the first place? Like, do you agree that it's an interaction?
It is a kind of an interaction, a give and take, basically, of
Should it
ideas,
always
of
be a give and take?
information.
Should it always be like an exchange? A communication should
Can
always
be
be an
one
exchange?
way, can be one way, it can be one way. There is no hard and fast rule, but it will be effective if it is both ways.
Right. Some kind
Yeah.
of feedback.
Yeah, some
Or
kind of feedback. Because
verbal
see,
or
I
non-verbal.
can, it will be like I'm sitting in a room and talking right now. If I couldn't see your faces, then it would have been not as interactive as it is right now. Like I can see your, yeah, so I can see your expressions, and I can gauge whether you're understanding me or whether you're able to, communicate with me. Because facial expressions are one more thing which are good
You're
communicators,
picking up
not just,
on non-verbal cues.
yeah,
But now,
non-verbal.
tracing back to my question, what do you think makes communication bad or good?
Good is basically when you're able to get the other person to understand what you're trying to say, and you're getting some output out of it. When you talk to someone and you tell them like, I'm doing something, so if there is some response
So
from
the
them,
impact of the communication is
yeah,
what
impact of
matters.
the communication, the response basically.
And what makes
And
it bad?
if it is bad if the other side is not able to understand anything which you are trying to communicate to them,
So
and
if
they're
partly they
sitting like
understand, it's
this.
still fine.
If they're sitting like this with their big eyes and
No, so you said they are not able. If they're not able to entirely understand, then it's bad.
yeah,
So if they can partially understand you, is it still good?
yeah, it's
Could be. You're neither you're
partially
not
good.
there.
See, partially good.
All right, all right. Thank you very much for that, Kavita. Okay, so moving on. Good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity. When do you communicate? When you have to. We communicate for a lot of reasons. We communicate to express, we communicate to inform, we communicate to educate. There are a lot of reasons why we communicate. And 100% of the time, it is to clarify something, right? So it could be, when you're informing someone, when you're educating someone. Like, for instance, I am communicating in this session to clarify and give, or rather give you more clarity on how to communicate better, right? When I'm asking you a question, you're giving me an answer to clear the confusion on whether or not you know something, right? So basically, good communication is when the bridge is like a bridge between confusion and clarity, right? So to effectively communicate, we must realize that we're all different in the way we perceive the world. The way I look at this water bottle is going to be very different from how Vaidehi looks at it. It's going to be very different from how Kavita or Payashvini look at it. I might look at it as my favorite bottle. Kavita might look at it as a brown bottle. Payashvini might look at it as a 1 liter bottle. Vaidehi might look at it as a bottle with a shield in it, right? So we all perceive things differently. No two people are going to perceive the same thing to the dot. I mean, of course, in a world this big, there's a lot of permutation, combination, and probability involved. But just saying that the basic thing that we need to understand to effectively communicate is the acknowledgement and the realization that we're all different in the way we perceive the world. And you use this understanding as a guide to communicate with others. And that's exactly what this session is going to be focused on. How can you make yourself abundantly clear and move from confusion to clarity? Sometimes you don't even know when people are confused, or rather the definition of confusion could be them understanding something entirely different from what you intend to say, right? Miscommunication is the root cause for so many problems in this world, be it at the workplace, be it in relationships, be it in a marriage, right? Miscommunication is the killer of it all. So let's look at how you can communicate effectively, specifically at the workplace, but more than just that, right? So now that we know what the standards of communication are and what we're looking to go, and what's good, let's look at how to make it effective too, right? So effective communication. So then I asked Kavita what makes communication good or bad. She said the impact, how it's received. Is it received in the way it's intended to be received, is going to be the metric that decides whether communication is good or not. Now, that's what makes it effective also, right? Impact, effect, synonyms. Now, what makes communication effective? There are two key things that make communication effective. One is consolidation. Another is the confidence. Okay, so let's first look at the matter, then we can look at how it's delivered, right? So moving into consolidation, right? The thing about, so what does consolidation mean? Can someone tell me that? Geetani, hi. Okay, or somebody, whoever is speaking right
Sorry, this is Geeta.
Hi, Geeta, yes.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, putting all your thoughts together in the right format and the flow.
Correct. So you're consolidating all your thoughts and putting it in a logical format and you're giving it to someone. That is consolidation, right? That's a great answer, Geeta. Thank you very much. So there are a few things you must remember while consolidating your speech, right? The first thing is context. You must contextualize your speech. You can't talk about something out of the blue and then jump into an unrelated conversation altogether and expect somebody to understand. Like I said, the beginning of effective communication is the acknowledgement that you perceive things differently. People perceive things differently. So you can't start communicating with an assumption that they know. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make while communicating, specifically at the workplace. Be it through an email, be it talking to your boss. You assume that your boss is informed that this is the timeline of a particular project's delivery. Because logically it makes sense. It's going to take 3 days to do this, and it's humanly impossible to do it before that. But the boss being your boss and your luck being your luck, he or she is going to assume it's going to be done in 2 days, and it has to because the client wants. And then he assumes you assume he knows, and that's where the problem begins, right? Contextualize. Now, structure your thoughts and organize them, right? How do you do that? By compartmentalizing your thoughts in the first place. Break them down into smaller points, break them down into smaller tasks, contextually, whichever works for you, and then present them in a logical flow or a pattern. For instance, 3 is the smallest number that makes a pattern, right? Say I have 3 things to discuss with you, and then in an order of priority, smallest to largest, good news to bad news, etc., you present that. You're going to say you have to have a one-on-one catch-up with your reporting manager, okay, at the workplace. Now, imagine you are scheduling this or he's scheduling this, doesn't matter. You imagine you have to sit for this meeting, right? Now, I'm sure you'll have a lot of things to discuss. You go and I know that you guys will have a clear understanding of what you have to say. But the moment you go there, if there is no order to what you want to say, if you're not going to prepare ahead, right, to mentally sort things out, it's going to be a conversation with no beginning and no end, right? Before going in, if you jot down, XYZ things, like this project is stuck because of this particular reason, I need help here. I want a personal day off on Wednesday. The third thing is, I'm also, juggling between an offer I might want to put my papers down. I want to discuss that with you. There are 5 different things. And this particular person in my team has consistently been underperforming, and I want to know how to deal with that. So there are all these different things, right? How do you compartmentalize this? They're already different things. They're already compartmentalized. Now, how do you logically order this? You put this down. You first understand these are different things that you want to communicate. Then you go to your boss, you tell him, I have 5 things to discuss with you. Please let me know when you have 20 minutes. When you go step into that call, you logically place it in a way it's easy for him to understand. You must always, the empathy is a key to great communication, right? Always you empathize from that person's point of view. They have 500 other things to do. If you make it easy, like the smallest thing that concerns you to the biggest thing that concerns you, or the reverse, whatever fits that person best, then it's easy for you to track the progress on each of those things, and it's easy for them to understand, okay, this is done, what's next, right? So compartmentalize. Always when you're talking, right, communication need not just be in the workplace for this. Even when you're, say, negotiating your salary, right, and this recruiter sends you an offer and you're not happy, right? So you're going to say, how do you put it forward that you have problems? You can't just say, first this is not there, and then that's not there, and then they're just gonna get confused. They're already like dealing with probably 3-4 other candidates. So when you put it, put a number to it, and you say, hey, I have 3 main problems with this. The first being this, the second being this, the third being this. It's much easier. Otherwise, they're just waiting to know when this is going to end, right? The moment you say, hey, I have 3 things to discuss, I have 5 things to discuss, it makes the Herculean task look a little smaller, look a little doable. It's a mind game, specifically that, right? So that's how you consolidate. That's how you effectively communicate, through consolidation. Now, as much as consolidation is important, as much as the matter of your communication is important, how it's presented is also very important, right? You might have great points to make, right? For instance, there's a presentation, or rather you guys are brainstorming for ideas, and you think one of the ideas thrown by one of your colleagues is shit, okay? And you have great points to make on why it's shit and why it shouldn't be that. But the way you communicate is going to make or break that, right? So one of the main things that hinders effective communication is confidence, right? So let me try and understand from somebody who's here. Okay. I'm going to prioritize the people who have their video on. So Geetanjali, I think last time you couldn't speak, so, and you're having a very pretty smile, caught my eye. So Geetanjali, so when you're communicating, and there must have been times where you didn't feel very confident, right?
Hmm.
Has there been a time where you've not felt very confident while communicating?
Excuse me.
No problem, take it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, has there been a time where you've not felt very confident?
Yeah, many times it happens when you
Right.
are asking for a casual leave.
Okay, even then, right? So what do you think kills your confidence? What causes it? Can you take a minute to think about it and tell me?
Yeah, like if I go back in time and I like to share this thought, my
Oh, I'm so
HOD.
sorry. 1 second. Everyone else, right? Even if you would like to answer, please open the chat box and tell me what kills your confidence. Yeah, please go on.
Yeah,
with that.
my HOD wasn't that happy. Like every other heads, they were not happy when somebody is asking for leave.
Oh, okay.
So that is something which kills your confidence. How I'm going to put this up? That today is suppose tomorrow is my son's birthday and I have to take a leave. That's a casual leave.
Right.
Even for a CL, you have to think a lot. You have
I
to stay out
understand.
of the room of the
So
HOD
fear.
and
Basically, what Shantala had mentioned in the chat section, it is the fear of being judged, right?
yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that answer. Okay. So, Chandrika says harsh counter. Lack of knowledge is also one thing. So, yeah, the most common things are, fear of judgment, like Shantala rightly put forth and Geetanjali also mentioned. There's also another reason, which is the stakes being so high, right? For instance, when you're negotiating your salary, it can make or break your job offer. You can either get that job offer or you won't get it at all. So the stakes are very high, and that could eat into your confidence a little bit. The third is, naturally, your personality level, shyness, or you're just that's how you're made, right? Sometimes. Also, someone is saying, I lose my confidence if I'm not aware of the topic much. So lack of knowledge. If I want to ask for help, I have any doubt or task. They say you don't know this, you should know it, right? And okay, so again, fear of judgment. When the other one is so much in a bigger post, fear of being rejected, right? So fear seems to be a big player in eating into your confidence, right? So now, how do you fix that? See, the biggest thing about confidence, right? For me, at least, I'm a very anxious person. Sometimes I feel less confident. How I overcompensate for it is by knowing as much as I can, right? Knowledge on, or basically, if I feel, if I know my shit, if I know what I'm talking about, and people, and I make it abundantly clear to people that I know what I'm talking about, I'm not bullshitting anybody here, then that's my coping mechanism for feeling, or at least appearing confident. See, a lot of times, not everybody is confident. I am not a confident person at all, but I'm a good actor, right? Nobody else has to know you're not confident. It's enough if you convince someone that you're confident. You don't actually have to be confident. So it's all of it is mostly a mindset level change, and it can all be fixed only if you want to fix it, right? So this is the thing about, I was just watching a random self-help video, and there was this clinical therapist, psychologist, right, who mentioned that in her experience, she's understood just this one thing. As much as she's equipped to help someone get over mental blocks or mental illnesses or anything at the, I mean, not mental illnesses, but conditions like depression or whatever it is, she's never been able to help someone who did not want to be helped, right? So the beginning of building up confidence is the intent to be confident, is the intent to come off as a confident person. So as long as you don't want to fix it, no amount of anything, even knowing a lot, even knowledge, bridging the gap of knowledge is not going to help unless you want it to be fixed. And hopefully, by the end of this session, uh, you will be there. Let's hope. I'm keeping the stakes very high now. Let me check in with you guys by the end of this session and hope you give me a favorable answer, right? So now let's move on to assertive communication, specifically because the workplace is a space where you have to be assertive, and there's no other way out, right? So before we get there, what is assertiveness? Can someone tell me what assertiveness is? Yeah,
Being firm,
sorry, who's speaking?
this is Shubha.
Hi, Shubha. So what do you think is assertiveness?
Yeah, putting your thoughts firmly without hurting the sentiments of the other.
Absolutely spot on. Assertiveness is the ability to confront, communicate, and comprehend. So confront is when someone did something, you have a problem with it, you go face to face with them. That's confrontation. You communicate is when wherever you want to say something, wherever you want to put something forward, including your opinions, including your judgments, everything. And comprehend, right, when you're trying to understand what someone has communicated to you, and you do all of this without offending anybody, and most importantly, without any aggression, right? Without by keeping a straight face, by being extraordinarily respectful and diplomatic and kind, right? That is assertiveness, and that's a, an invaluable quality to have at the workplace. Now, the thing about assertiveness is, say, okay, let me begin with an example, right? Imagine an unpleasant situation at work, like when your boss undermines or blames you, right? Something happens, it's not completely your mistake, but your boss blames you. 90% of the people act in one of the following ways. There are people who act passive. So passive people just take it without complaining, but they feel bad about it. They feel terrible about it on the inside. There are people who are aggressive, who go and confront them aggressively, or they act out elsewhere. So, for instance, they go back home and show it there. They snap, at their partner or the child, or they just go ahead and directly, take it up with their boss, but in a very aggressive way, right? Or the most common type is the passive aggressive kind. They make sly comments, right? Of course this happens to me. What else, right? Of course, yahi to hona tha, right? So these are mostly how people react to unpleasant situations at work. But an assertive person will do three things. First is they will analyze. They'll pull themselves together and they'll analyze what went wrong. What went wrong that made this person say it? Second, in line with that, they will empathize. From the boss's point of view, why could he possibly think that this is on me? Why did he possibly think this is my mistake? Right? After, sort of agreeing and understanding and accumulating all of this information to themselves, they articulate. They consolidate those thoughts and they communicate their thoughts respectfully without any aggression, right? They go ahead and say, hey boss, I understand that something went wrong, but I need to talk to you about it. So for instance, right, so there was this one time, okay, so I was working in an advertising agency. I was reporting to my boss and she was reporting to my super boss, okay? So this was a very big client. I'm sure you all know OnePlus, right? So we were working on the brand OnePlus, and OnePlus is campaigns and social media and marketing and everything. And the client was extraordinarily pissed about something, okay? And to an extent where they wanted to drop us, like they wanted to stop working with us, which means it's going to be a humongous loss for my company, right? Because all of us were primarily working on that brand, and if that money is gone, it's going to be a problem for the company. Okay, so my super boss, my boss's boss, was extraordinarily, very very angry. He didn't know what to do. So, but we were working on a different one. The OnePlus brand was different, so we were working on a different brand. This guy just came in. He just yelled on call. He went yapping for 10 minutes straight. Okay. So I was just a silent spectator throughout. I learned this from my boss, Malvika. So what happened was Malvika just did a very simple thing. She actually did get annoyed. She was texting me parallelly saying how annoyed she was. But to the super boss, she said, listen, Parthiban, let me just call you back. I have a call with the client right now. She didn't have the call. She just dropped off that call. She waited for half an hour. She let him cool down. And then she went on a call with him and said, hey, I understand this is a huge deal, but XYZ things happened. This is why the client was pissed, and this is not on us. And it was very clearly communicated. And by the end of it, you won't believe me, the super boss apologized to her for snapping. That is what an assertive person gets, right? On the same call, there was another account manager who was in the same level as her, right? They were two, because it's a big account, there were many people working on it. She was going on fighting with him, right? On call for blaming her. And that, you all know how, I mean, it's very easy to assume how that ended, right? But assertiveness has its value, and especially when it comes to being promoted at work. It's not the most skilled people, it's not the most talented people who get promoted, it's the most assertive people who get promoted, right? So that amount of emotional intelligence is important in the workplace to understand that, again, I'm still going back to the first thing I said, that the world's perceived differently by different people. And the moment you understand that and you put yourself in their shoes, things get much easier, right? Yeah? Are you all with me so far? Yes? Okay. Moving on. Clear and concise communication. Now, this is going to be a little activity based. So I'm going to need 2 volunteers who are going to enact a conversation, right? So anyone who will be interested? Yeah? Okay, Shaili. Hi, Shaili.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, I want one more person. Anybody else? Or I'll pick.
Shall I?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Who's speaking though? I'm so sorry.
Shruti, actually, sorry, my bandwidth is very low, so I couldn't, turn on my video. I'm very sorry for that. Next class
Oh,
onwards,
no.
I'll on it.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I need you to do, Shaili and Shruti, is that I'm going to display a conversation between 2 colleagues. I need you guys to read it out for me, okay? Like, you're going to enact as this person and then read it out for me, okay?
Okay.
So Shaili can be Anu, Shruti can be Ramya, right? So please go on.
Okay. Hey, Ramya, what's on your mind?
Oh, yeah. I have been thinking about making a major career shift.
Oh, yeah? What are you considering?
I want to explore a different career path.
Hmm.
Did you hear what I said?
About what?
My career change.
Oh, that? What about it?
Don't you have anything to say about it?
Look, I buy you lunch, get you chiropractic treatments, and surprise you with clothes. What more do you want?
It's not just about that. I feel like you don't value my work as much as you should.
Look at how much I do for you.
It's not just about what you do. It's about how you treat me compared to paying clients.
Fine, let's talk about it. You're muted, Aarti.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much for that. I'm saying we're going to get back to that conversation after we learn about the 7 C's of effective communication and see how that can change. Okay. And then we have 2, 3 more situations that we can try to, play out improv, right? So now the context of the previous situation is that these two people are trying to work together, and then one of these people, Anu, it just wants out. They're partners in business, but she just wants out now because she doesn't feel valued, right? And even while confronting her business partner about it, she doesn't get a very positive response. So again, it's either passive or passive aggressive, right? This entire situation and how this lady Ramya deals with it. So let's look at how we can fix that. Okay. So the 7 C's of effective communication. This is going to be like your guiding light to understanding exactly how to put what we've learned so far into action. Okay. So please pay attention to this. The first thing is clarity, being clear. Be clear about the goal of your message and the purpose of your message, right? If you don't in the first place understand what you want to communicate, it's not going to come out fine, right? So present one idea at a time, making it easier for the receiver of your message to understand. Don't leave them guessing for what the message is about and having to fill in the gaps themselves. Point is, don't assume they will know. You will have to be abundantly clear every single time. Set a goal or outcome for what you want to communicate and work towards that, work backwards, right? Second thing, be concise. Conciseness is basically, again, could be called as brevity too, I guess. So keep to the point, right? Keep it short, keep it simple. I think that's what works with you in interviews also, and I will be going over this again when we get to the interview readiness session. But the one thing about communication is that you must understand everyone is zoning out, right? No one's paying 100% attention to you, not in today's world. They don't want to know. The moment you're going to be like, I did this, and then this happened, and then that happened, you've already lost that person, right? The shorter you speak, the better the effect. If I have to give you an example, right? I'm so sorry, I'm bringing in a lot of advertising examples because I belong to the industry, right? I mean, I'm sure you all are on YouTube. You go watch a lot of YouTube videos, and most of the YouTube videos are like 6 and 7 seconds before you have a skip button, right? Of course, there are 30-seconders, but I'm saying the skippable ones are 7 seconds long. Why? There's definitely a reason behind it. There's a lot of research that went behind it. That is the attention span that we have these days. But strangely, we are a group of people who binge watch long form content, but we also like to scroll through 20-second reels based on how interesting it is in the first 3 seconds, right? That's how we're wired right now. That's how it works. The point is, you need to have a hook. It needs to be very clear what the other person has in for them in that conversation. If they think it's not important, they're not going to listen. If they think it's too long, it's too hard for them to focus, practically speaking. If you're saying 5 different things in a very, very long format, it's not going to work. We'll get to how you can summarize everything and paraphrase everything also a little later in the session. But don't unnecessarily use words. If you can use 3 words instead of 5, do it. If you can use 5 words instead of 10, please do it, right? Use 2 words where 1 will do, and like 6 sentences where 3 will do, right? Don't repeat the same point in different ways. Sometimes when you're nervous, when you're not confident, you try to say the same things in different ways, in active and passive voice, right? It happens naturally. It happens to me also. Even in this session, I would have done it a couple of times maybe, right? But the thing about it is, the more redundant you are, the more they lose interest. They'll think, oh, English is only going to say the same thing over and over again. She can't communicate. Right? This will also make any communication more engaging and easier to understand, because you come off as a person who's no nonsense. You cut the bullshit. You're like straightforward, very easy to communicate with. You're very approachable when you speak clearly and concisely, specifically, right? Third thing, concreteness. Be clear, not fuzzy. Right? Ensure that there is enough detail to get the message across, but not too much that the recipient will be lost in that message, factually speaking, right? Be like adding too much noise around the main point, like you're fluffing it up, is not going to work. Like, it's not going to ease in the blow. It's only going to make it worse. People think it's easy if they, beat around the bush and, get to the bad part slowly. But it's much easier to deal with if you just give it to people straight. Right? Fourth one, correctness. Check the information you're providing is accurate, and in written communication specifically, that is emails, texts, your Slack, your internal communication channels, whatever it is, right? Ensure it is free from grammatical and spell errors. It's a blessing that we live in 2024. There are tools to help you do that. So use them. Have a Grammarly extension that will automatically correct your grammar and your spellings for free. Use ChatGPT to write your emails. Just type into ChatGPT, tell it what you want to convey. ChatGPT will write an email for you. You can clean it up a little bit and send. I'm not saying you should work hard all the time. You can work smart too. There are tools that can help you communicate clearly. Use them. Right? Preparation will definitely help. And of course, when you're talking technically, check the technical parts of, ensure that the technical parts of your communication is clearly understandable, even to someone who's not technically aligned. right? Or at least the person, I'm so sorry, sorry, even for the person who's, I'm extremely sorry, guys. The person receiving the information, right? Preparation will help here to make sure that you can be sure about what you're communicating, or you can get a chance to read what you've written. Always double check and ensure that you're factually right. And anything you put in writing is under scrutiny, because it's going to remain there forever. At least while speaking in person, there's no official record of it. But your emails, your messages, please put as much effort as possible into them. Communicate as clearly as possible. Right? If you are one of those people who sends long texts and long paragraphs, I have something else for you towards the end of the session. I'm one of them too, by the way, because I like to pour my heart out like that. That's how I'm made, but not with work, right? Especially at the workplace, nobody has that kind of time, right? There's no emotional investment at work, which means they're not going to give you the patience that they usually carry within themselves. So please be mindful of everybody's time. Fifth thing, coherence. Coherence. Make sure your message flows well and it's laid out logically. It's making sense. There's a flow to it. There is a structure to it. It's not random things put together. Right? The points you make should all be linked to the main topic, especially when you're writing an email, right? Please indent as much as possible. Don't have one blob of text sitting right there. Break. Every 2 sentences, there has to be a break. One paragraph shouldn't be more than 2 or 3 sentences. Right? Most people look at emails from their phone, and it looks like a blob of text on your phone if it is not indented properly. If you don't want to indent, use bullet points, format, basic ways to ensure that it's easily readable. I'm sure all of you are all on LinkedIn, right? And you see a lot of content on LinkedIn. But if you notice closely, the ones that you end up reading are the ones that are broken down and easy for you to read quickly, right? You don't read blobs of text. Even an ad, even a flyer, right? Even in a newspaper, most people read just the headline because it's easy for them to just look at that, and instead of looking at those blobs of text. Many people download InShots and keep in their phone because it's a short format, news for them. They just get it without any bullshit, without any unnecessary details, right? So keep it that way. Keep it coherent, right? Consider using a structure for your communication, and that will really help. And this is when your consolidation and compartmentalization comes into play. Then, completion. This is one of the things many people miss, right? Especially while communicating at work. A lot of us are very stressed about communicating our problems. We fail to communicate what we want from this other person, right? There's no completion to our message. You're telling me that this is not working. So, for instance, imagine you're giving feedback to your junior at work, right? Someone who just wrote up a code, but it's not working out somehow. Technically, it's wrong, right? You're telling them this is not working. But are you giving pointed feedback? Is it complete, right? What is not working? What do you ultimately want them to do, right? Ensure that is clear to them when you're communicating, either in person or on emails or on message, internal communication channels, anything. Ensure that your message is complete. Ensure that the recipient has everything they need to understand your message and take action if needed. They should know what their action points are. And so when you go back to work, or whenever you are at a workplace, you're also going to be, taking a lot of minutes of the meetings, right? Even in that, right? What do most people do? These days people just take whatever their Google Meet or their Zoom, transcribes for them, and they put it in a format and do it. But what I would suggest you do is, of course, that can be there, but at the end of it, have action points, right? Action points, you can divide it in terms of the stakeholder. Like, for instance, you have a client X and you have your team. So action points for my team, action points for the client. Or if there are going to be 3 people on the call, internally trying to understand what needs to be done. If it's going to be Aarti, Kavita, and Vaidehi, after putting down information on what went down in the meeting, what we discussed, please add another section. Action points for Aarti, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Action points for Kavita, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Action points for Vaidehi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's easier for you to backtrack and see what needs to be done. There should be some completion to it, right? For example, you could also ask questions to check if they understood it clearly, if you think you've not communicated that. This is something I'm talking about in person. When you're conducting a meeting in person, when you're having, say, a brainstorm or basically a status update meeting, at the end of it also, if because you're not putting a minutes right then at that meeting also, please try to ensure everyone's understood what needs to be done. And if you are one of the people who's getting, who's not conducting the meeting also, please ensure that you proactively initiate that this is what I need to be doing, right? In conclusion, this is what needs to be done. Is something that you should do, and that will increase your credibility also, significantly. That most people just zone out in meetings. This would be a great way to prove that you don't, and you actually care, and you're an action taker, right? So, the last one, courteousness. Your message should be polite. A lot of things can be said in different ways, but the most effective communication happens when it's assertive, when it's not offending anyone, right? Your message should be polite, it should be friendly, it should be professional, it should be open and honest. Think about your message from the recipient's point of view. Like, would you like to be spoken to in the way you're speaking to someone? That should be your metric, right? Even otherwise, keep it as cordial as possible. One thing I have realized from, working full times is that it's much easier to be very close friends, or rather friends with someone you're working with, than, have a little kiss. It's very hard. Having a grudge or sort of not liking someone takes a lot more effort than pretending to like someone, even. Right? It's much easier that way. Just put on that smile. Kill them with kindness. It's much easier. I'm telling you, it's a proven way to be liked. It's a proven way to maintain a cordial working relationship, right? It'll be much easier for you to work with someone if you're just courteous. If you're just, I'm not saying you should change who you are. Some people just deserve that unkind behavior. But unkind behavior also says a lot about who you are than the other person. There are people who would just flip out when you feed the same thing they give you. All of that is there. But I'm telling you, it's much easier to communicate effectively and reap the benefits of that effective communication if you're just courteous. It takes much lesser effort, right? This will help you deliver your message in a way that's easy to understand, and it's very, very effective also, right? So also communicating to or writing to someone, your communication becomes more engaging when you're a lot more courteous. It's a two-way. When you're not courteous, when you're trying to when someone messes up, when your junior messes up, you go and lash out at them, it's going to have very less effect compared to you telling them, hey, listen, what you did was wrong. This is why it went wrong. Now, you tell me what you want, or this is how you do it, right? It's much more structured. It's much more easier, right? And that brings us to the end of the 7 C's of communication, right? By following these 7 C's, you should be able to deliver any kind of message in a more effective manner. Now, understanding all of this, let's try out the whole situation thing again, right? I don't know if I have time to let you guys enact this again, but here Anu again says that this isn't about what you do for me, Ramya. It's about what you did to me in the past, right? Now Ramya is more interested. She's like, okay, tell me what I did, right? And Anu says, when I came to talk to you about something important, you were dismissive, and it made me feel unheard and disrespected, right? And now Ramya understands, and Ramya says that she's sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to make you feel ignored. I should have been more mindful and considerate when you brought up the career shift. And Anu says, thank you for apologizing. Moving forward, let's work on better communication and support each other's aspirations, both professionally and personally. These are two friends working together. So dosti or danda shouldn't mix is something many people say. And I happen to work with my best friend, right? And or rather, she works for me on a part-time basis. But it's much. It never gets between us, and like we switch personalities very very easily because we both understand these two are different, and it's because we communicate using the word I a lot. I don't say you did this, you are not working. I say I feel this could be better, right? When you're at the workplace, especially when you're giving feedback, um, try to think of all the times someone gave you very bad feedback and made you feel terrible, right? I'm sure every one of us has been in a place where someone's made us feel so small about ourselves that we're not competent at all. Just remember that and transform it into kindness towards someone you have to give feedback to, right? Anytime you're giving feedback, I'm sure you're all in a stage where you're going to be giving feedback a lot more than receiving it, right? We'll get to the receiving part too. But when you're giving feedback specifically, please be mindful of this person's emotions as well. It's not just a factual professional exchange. It's going to eat into this person's self-esteem. So the moment you say that I think this can be better, right? It changes every single thing. Try to use more of I and more of your opinions when you're trying to give feedback. And when you're receiving feedback that's bad, just remember that it's a part of their job. Try to communicate to them if it repeats that it makes you feel bad, and see how that goes, right? Moving on. This is my favorite part of the session, summarizing effectively. What's a summary? A summary is a shorter version of an original by default. Okay, nothing more than 25 to 30% of the original. Okay, especially when does this come into play? It's specifically when when you have to fill someone in on something that happened. You either paraphrase or you summarize. Both of these are very very different from each other. Okay, so imagine you're preparing a presentation for your seniors. Okay, you ask everyone in your team to contribute, and they all had plenty things to say. Okay, so and you end up having a lot of information to present. Now, how do you do this? How do you summarize all of that effectively? First thing about summarizing is that you identify the essence. What's the bottom line? Read through it maybe once, maybe twice, maybe thrice, depending upon the context and what makes you feel comfortable. Do it as many times as you want. Identify the essence. What is this information trying to say? Second, highlight the details. Just details that are important, such as statistics, such as important turning points, depending upon what the situation or the context is. Third, the most important thing about a summary, use your own words. You don't have to take excerpts and paste it. You're not making a collage. You're summarizing. So use your own words, right? But now, the important thing is you have a dozen reports from all your teammates and in different styles, and your CEO says that she can only spare 10 minutes to read the final version. What do? The solution is to paraphrase and summarize the reports so your boss gets only the key information in the form that she can process and understand easily, right? Now, what do you do? The specific things about summarizing is that you don't add any opinions or judgment. That's a commentary, not a summary, right? What you hear when you're watching IPL every single day in the evening is a commentary, because these people are sitting, they are, taking the information in on who's playing and how they're playing. They're putting their 2 cents into how they should have played, and they're giving you a commentary. That's not a summary, that's a commentary, right? A summary does not include opinions or judgment. That's paraphrasing, right? Paraphrasing is where you explain somebody else's ideas in your own words. No shortening is involved in paraphrasing. A summary is where you distill the information and you highlight only the critical points, right? So let me do a little show and tell, right? So this is the original version, and I'm going to, summarize it for you as well. So how do you go about identifying your strengths and weaknesses and analyzing the opportunities and threats that flow for them? SWOT analysis is a useful technique that helps you do this. What makes SWOT especially powerful is that with a little thought, it can help you uncover opportunities that you would not otherwise have spotted. And by understanding your weakness, you can manage and eliminate threats that might otherwise hurt your ability to move forward in your roles. If you look at yourself using the SWOT framework, you can start separating yourself from your peers and further develop the specialized talents and abilities that you need in order to advance in your career and to help you achieve your personal goals. Right? This is the original version, the long version. Now, this is a summary. Much shorter, less than 25% of what the original version is. And it says, SWOT analysis is a technique that helps you identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Understanding and managing these factors can help you develop abilities that you need to achieve your goals and progress in your career. You still have the same information as you did in the last one, right? Because the essence of it is not lost. There's no opinion or judgment, right? It's just critical points put together in different words. If you feel like you can't summarize something, use ChatGPT. I always do that, right? Sometimes you just don't have the time or the patience to do it, right? Even when you're talking, when you're summarizing, it's much easier for somebody else to understand. Moving on. Verbal and non-verbal cues. The last piece of the puzzle, right? By now, you've all understood what makes for good communication, how you get there, how you communicate effectively. But this is like the cherry on the top. All of it's not complete without this, right? So let's understand verbal and non-verbal communication, right? Moving on to non-verbal communication. So there are, I think six parts to non-verbal communication. The first thing is kinesics. Kinesics refers to movement, right? Don't move too much. Whether you have space or not, try to keep your hand movements within the frame of your face, right? The more you do this, you look animated. But when you're talking like this, it is very, very natural, right? It's like it's happening organically, right? Within the frame of your face and neck, just imagine someone's clicking a passport size photo, right? That's how much your hand needs to move. Nothing sudden. So movement doesn't have to be with your hands alone. It can be with your body, how much you move around the room, what you do with your face, right? So sometimes there have been situations in the workplace, even for me, where someone absolutely doesn't make sense, or someone just makes a very triggering statement, right? So it's very hard not to sigh or roll your eyes, but that's exactly what you're supposed to do, right? The more you move, the more you react with your face, right? The more your body moves in any capacity, the more distracting it is for the receiver of your message. So it waters down the effect of all the effort you put into making your communication effective. Right? So try to keep your kinesics within the frame of your face and neck. Try to not react with your face so much. It's a process. It's going to be hard. It's a slow burning process, right? So proxemics. Proxemics refers to proximity or personal space. Point is, don't go too close to anyone. Respect everybody's personal space, especially in a corporate environment. I have seen, so many people rushing to the elevator, right? And it's so awkward at a point where you're just squeezing in, and or rather squeezing inside an elevator is also still understandable because everyone wants to get where they want to. But just while standing in the line, you go and go awfully close while you try to go and hit that button. Please be very mindful of everybody else's personal space. And even when you're addressing a group of people, or when you're sitting at lunch, or when you're trying to communicate, right? I completely lose track of what someone's saying when they're awfully close to me, because I'm anxious. I'm already like, it's a little awkward for me. I'm not even focusing on what you're saying. So please be aware of the amount of personal space you give to people. Haptics refers to touch. Now, this is a very fine line. I don't think would be a huge problem for you ladies, but don't take the liberty to touch anybody. Even when you happen to work with friends, a lot of times, many of you might be lucky enough to work with your friends, or you could be lucky enough to make friends at the workplace, but do not very easily take the liberty to touch anybody, sit too close, or just don't wrap your arm around and do that. I've seen many people do that, and it's not easily the best non-verbal communication cue that you can give away. Right? Kinesics refers to eye contact. Eye contact is extraordinarily important. There is some unexplainable exchange of energy that happens when you make eye contact with someone. It instantly lights up somebody else's face, and they somehow understand what you're saying better, right? I don't know how to scientifically explain that, but I just know that it absolutely works, right? So, but as much as eye contact is important, don't freak someone out by constantly looking at them also, right? That's also going to water down the effect of your effective communication. And the last one, the penultimate one is vocalics, your voice. A lot of times, you might just not feel like throwing your voice out, but the basic is to at least try to be audible. Don't speak too soft, but don't yell either. There is a sweet spot in between. All our decibel levels are different, but your music has to be try to be audible. If even like when you're having a team huddle, or when you've been asked for your opinion, the people whose opinions are even considered are the people who actually take the effort to speak out loud, right? If you're going to keep things to yourself, or you're constantly like not audible, after a point in time, people are not going to make effort to come and tell you that, hey, you're not audible, you're speaking too soft, right? So the thing is, I'm a completely different person at home. I'm a completely different person with the people I know. But at work, I'm an extraordinarily different person. Unfortunately, in 2024, you need to be a coin with two faces like that. That's how things work. I completely understand and empathize with you if you're a very shy person, not talk out loud. But consciously make an effort to do that. I mean, that's going to be your number one step to being heard, even metaphorically, right? So the last one is chronomics. Time. This is one part of non-verbal communication that everybody ignores. Right? Time is vital. You cannot keep taking your own sweet time to communicate whatever it is that you want. If someone's taking too much time, there there is a great chance that no, they're not being heard. Everyone else is probably thinking about lunch. They're probably thinking about where to go for their chai sutta. They're probably thinking about other 3 tasks they have to complete for the day. Because the longer you speak, the less you're heard, right? So please be mindful of everybody's time. That's when you're going to speak very, how do I put it? Your concise communication will definitely come in play over there. Apart from this, the biggest point, I'm so sorry for coming back to kinesics, that's going to be the most important non-verbal cue that I want you to focus on, which is your movement, specifically your facial movement and how you react to things, right? It's going to take a little bit of time and a lot of effort for you to not react with your face, but the more you do it, the easier it is to transform yourself in the workplace, and right. Sorry. And the next one is verbal communication. When communicating with another person, it can be easy to plan your response when you actively listen, right? So there are two main points when it comes to verbal communication cues. One is active listening. Second is effective speaking. Right? About active listening is extraordinarily important specifically when you're in a one-on-one conversation with someone. Right? When you're giving presentations, when you're attending a meeting, it's still important, but in a one-on-one, you're more on the microscope, right? So active listening is absolutely necessary. And when you're doing that, it helps you understand the message and prepare a response based on the message, right? You can use the following ways to develop active listening. First thing, keep your distractions at minimum. when you're listening to somebody, any other person, try to keep your distractions to your minimum. Like, for instance, if you are working from home, move to a place that's quieter. That will help you focus. For instance, right? I'm trying to communicate now, and I'm trying to listen to all of you. But if there is a background noise with someone, not being on mute, it distracts me, and I politely ask them to be on mute, right? So always figure out what helps you focus and figure out what distracts you, understand that, and keep that up, right? Second, most important thing about active listening is maintaining an open mind. When you're actively listening to a speaker, try to keep an open mind and avoid judging based on stereotypes, your opinions, or whatever it is. Focus on what they are saying. Look at a message as a message, not as a prophecy, right? Focus on what the speaker is saying before jumping into any conversation and formulate a response based on. Reply only after the speaker finishes. Now, the thing about me is I follow this rule of three at the workplace. Like, I call it the 3-second rule, right? I mostly work from home, and Zoom usually has a lot of delays. That's also a reason why I do it. But whether it's over the phone, whether it's over Zoom, whether it's in person, I do not speak before I count to 3 after the person has finished talking. Because a lot of times you assume they're done talking and they start talking again, right? It doesn't make sense. And it goes into an awkward loop of, oh no, you go first, oh no, you say it. It's also like, it's an uneasy situation. Always count to 3 in your head before you respond to anything in the workplace. That makes you a very good, at least come off as a good listener, even if you don't want to listen, right? And avoid concentrating on a particular aspect of a message if it's not absolutely necessary. Instead, try to understand this entire message, and then, based on that, give your response. A lot of time you do have to draw attention to details, yes, but always follow a top-down approach when you're responding to a message. Look at the entire thing, give your response to the entire thing, and then narrow down to the details, like a little cone, right? You start with a bigger thing, and then you come to the smaller things. Okay. Effective speaking. Now, effective speaking is about how effectively you deliver the intended message to your audience, like Kavita rightly pointed out in the beginning of this session, right? There are 3 key elements for effective speaking. Okay. Apart from, we learned how to effectively communicate as a whole, but when you're speaking and you want someone to understand you properly, effectively, there are 3 main things. 1, word choice. While words may vary depending upon the situation, the topic, the audience, choosing the right words is essential to convey the right message. For example, your word choice will be different when you're speaking to a group of friends, and it may be entirely different when you're speaking to your manager or your business stakeholders, right? Often, you make a word choice based on the level of understanding of your audience, the stakes, your relationship with this person, etc. Right? For instance, there's no point in using technical terminologies when you're delivering a presentation to the non-technical stakeholders. They hire you because they're not technical, right? You can't keep going and giving them technical terminologies just to sound cool, right? So understand your audience, and I mean that's one thing marketing taught me, right? It's always a reverse engineering process. Your message is delivered very easily when you understand your target audience, you know what they want, and you give them that, right? It's much easier that way rather than trying to give them something and convincing them that this is good for them, right? So, moving on, use the right words, because even when you're giving the right message, when you're not using the right words, it's not going to work. Your words, and then that brings me to the next point, your tonality and your delivery, right? The way you deliver a message can significantly affect the message you're trying to convey. For example, right, an introvert or a shy person may speak quietly and often wouldn't probably deliver the intended message that effect, right? A confident person, because they have the power, they don't have the inhibition to speak, have the clarity in their speech, and they also happen to have a command over the language they're speaking in, and this ensures that their audience understands the message they're trying to get. So it is important to be aware of the pace and tone of your voice while communicating with others. Right? Speaking too fast, speaking in a tone that is dismissive, speaking in a tone that is passive aggressive, all of this is not going to work. Right? Speak at a pace that's easy to understand and a tone that is most definitely diplomatic and not. See, playing a blame game is not going to help anybody at all. You have to, there could be situations where you definitely have to play a blame game. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your business as usual, right? Okay. The third thing, the last thing about effective communication is reinforcement. Non-verbal communication plays a crucial role in effective speaking because the cues you send through facial expressions, through gestures, through your body posture significantly affect how your message is perceived, right? This is why I kind of told you about non-verbal before we even got to the verbal part. So to become an effective communicator, your non-verbal expressions have to reinforce the same thing you're trying to communicate verbally. Okay, that's when you know how passive aggressive people act. They'll say it's okay, right? And then they'll say yeah, it's fine, and then the way they're saying it, the tone and the message just don't align. Right? That's what makes them passive aggressive. You can't say okay and act like you're not. Right? So always ensure that your non-verbal communication and your verbal communication are in line with each other. Right? So they should be reinforcing the same meaning as your words. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this session. And before we close this session, I'm gonna do a little activity. Okay, I'm gonna give a situation, and then I want you guys to communicate or have a conversation based on that situation. Just by putting into action whatever you learned in this session. So let's just quickly try that out a little bit. Do I have any volunteers? Or maybe I'll put the situation out there so you can just you'll have a safe space to understand what you're getting yourself into, and then you can communicate. Or I'm just gonna randomly pick my favorite people. Okay, so there are 3 situations, and I want 2 people to take up. Oh, someone said, God bless you. Thank you so much. Oh, Kavita, thank you so much. Right. So these are 3 situations that I have for you guys. So the first one is someone takes credit for your idea. Second is you're asked to stay late when you're about to leave the office for a personal obligation. Third is you have to give a negative or awkward feedback to someone you're close with. So these are situations that might happen to you at work as soon as you join as well, right? So let's see how you guys navigate this particular thing. Yeah. So who's gonna volunteer to take this up? Or should I just pick? You guys, come on. I want to believe I made an impact. I have an impactful personality, but doesn't look like it. No one's volunteering. Okay, I have. I think Kavita is also nodding, so I'm assuming she's also coming. Okay. Who else? Okay, so we can start with Shruti and Kavita, and then go on with the rest of us. Yeah. Yeah. Shruti and Kavita, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome sauce. Okay. Where is Shruti? Not able to find
Yeah.
Shruti. Okay, I've pinned her. I don't know if you guys can see her though. I think only if you have a video on it comes. Okay, anyway, Shruti and Kavita, which situation do you want to pick?
Situation 2. Situation 2.
Situation 2.
Okay, I'll take Okay, I'll take the situation 3. Let her do the situation.
No, you guys have to do it together. One of you has to be the boss.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Done,
okay.
done.
Okay, so that's fine. Still, I can pick somebody else to do it with Shruti, or rather, I'll be the boss as I
Yeah.
am everywhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, Shruti. So you want situation 2, right?
Yeah.
So Shruti, I still think you have to stay back a little late today because
Okay.
we have this huge deadline coming up, and it's going to be impossible for us to
Hmm.
deliver this to the client without you
Hmm.
fixing this today, and I need this to be fixed today.
Hmm. Yeah, ma'am. But could you tell me what could be the reason for that? For staying long? I need a little more explanation on that.
I mean, I just told you, like, we have this huge deadline coming up, and
Hmm.
unless and until you fix this today, we can't get the coding team or the product team to work on it tomorrow.
Okay.
Only then we'll be able to deliver this on Friday, right?
Hmm. Yeah, but you have to understand from my point of view also, ma'am, like little bit urgent. See, it's not that I have to leave the work and move out. It is little urgent. So I think I can manage, once after I finish my personal work in home, I think I can manage by completing it from there.
See, but you don't understand the stakes are so high, right? If we lose this, we have to lay people off. What are you even saying?
Yeah, ma'am, I do understand that there are some, potential risks involved in that. But I can I can assure you that I can complete the work after see the priority is very much important here. I don't say like both priorities are very very important here, but the personal work has a bit priority more than my official work. So it doesn't mean that I have to give up on my professional work also. So and once once after completing it, I am very much sure that I can finish it off and I can give it to you in one day.
Got it. So, see, great attempt there, Shruti. Just a little bit of feedback I'd like to give. Can I go on?
Yeah, sure, ma'am, sure.
See, the thing is, what you said was right. The way you said it, ideally would anger your boss even further, right? What you said is absolutely right. But the way you communicated it could have been better, could have been more assertive, right? For instance, even when we started off, right? When you asked me, can you tell
ஒரு
me
நாள்
what
தான்
went wrong?
திட்டினா அடி வாங்கினா
Sure. யாருக்கு அடி வாங்க போறா? Sorry. Can you please stay on mute? Anyway, Shruti, I was saying the way you are. Sorry, everyone. Can you stay on mute? Right. So Shruti, the way you asked, right? Even when you began to ask me what's so important that I have to stay, right? There's a different way to probably put it forth as well, right? You can probably put it in a way where it's not so forward and aggressive and more empathetic, right? Your boss, there should be some basic trust between you and your boss that your boss is not going to come and tell you to do something that's absolutely not important. Okay, I know that's not true in most cases, but let's start with a positive assumption that something's really important and you're trying to understand that perspective. People are supportive when they know you understand what they need, right? So you start by saying, okay, I understand there's a requirement. Can you tell me more about the urgency and when you need this to be done and why, right? The tone with which you speak dictates how the conversation is going to go. I was using a very sassy, excuse me, please get this done, I'm your boss tone, because you spoke to me like that, because you said, can you tell me what's wrong, why should I do this? That's not how a professional conversation should go. In case, unfortunately, you've been asked to do this and you have a child at home that you have to take care of, politely try to ask, can I possibly know what's happening? And then try to tell me why you need to go home. And that, see, obviously, you and I both know it's outside your work hours. I am making a request. I should be sounding like I'm making a request, but most definitely I won't. Just because I'm your boss, I won't. Right? There's a good chance that I won't. But it's it's on you. 50% is on you on how I responded, right? If you're going to be extraordinarily kind to me, I'm not going to come and like really just go off on you like that, right? So after you ask me what's actually gone wrong, and I tell you, then what you pitched was absolutely right. The way you put it again, right? So I understand that this is a huge deal for our company, and I am willing to do this work, but please just give me 2 to 3 hours. I need to get home. I need to get to my child, which is also very important to me. And once that's done, let me log in from home, and I will get it done for you by tomorrow first half. And that will leave us 24 hours for feedback and for the PM to work on it, right? Very simple. So what the approach you took was perfect. It was spot on, was fabulous, because you were taking a solution-oriented approach. But the way you spoke was confrontational and aggressive, which is what made it hard. Yeah? Did you understand? Is that okay?
Yeah, ma'am. Got it.
All right.
Thank you.
So now, Kavita, yeah. So I am your junior. Okay. You're gonna give me
Feedback.
negative
Yeah.
and awkward feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Aarti. How are you?
Hi, Kavita. Not so
Okay.
good. You've been overworking
Oh,
me.
that's so yeah. I just wanted to speak to you about something. I've just looked at the work that you have done,
Right.
and I have taken a look at it, and I found some
Kavita, you sound like a very nice person. So this situation 3 is too easy for you. Let's do situation. See, that's the whole point, Kavita. I'm so sorry. So, okay, you're making you're giving me an idea, and I'm just paraphrasing it, and I'm making it my idea in a meeting. Okay, I said so. You say ABC, I say CPA is the way to go. Now I've said it. How are you gonna deal with it in the meeting?
I didn't understand. Can you repeat?
So you pitched idea ABC. Okay.
Okay.
I paraphrased it, and people were still like thinking about it. They were like, they didn't understand you clearly. And I said, okay, how about this? We do C, and then B, and then A, and then it becomes ABC. Isn't that great? And everyone starts applauding. Okay. And I've taken credit for your idea.
Oh, so you want me to do the first one, is it?
Yeah. Now we are
Putting me
in
in
a
a
meeting.
spot, Aarti, this is not nice. Not effective communication.
No. Do it. Okay. So we are in this meeting. I've taken credit. Now it's your turn to speak.
Hi, hello everyone. I'd like you to pay attention. I just wanted to speak. I listened to what Aarti has said. I think you guys couldn't understand what I was trying to say.
Yeah, isn't mine like a great idea? I know, right?
Yeah. Great, Aarti. Thank you for putting it in a particular manner. But I feel that this idea would be better if it went from A to B to C. The reason
Kiti,
being
could you please
that
stay on mute? Sorry. Yeah, please go.
yeah. Yeah, the reason being that that is the correct and logical way of going about it. Although I agree with Aarti, which is there is another way which we could have done it, that is CBA. But
No. I'm just no, you got it wrong. Okay. I'm pitching the same idea only.
Okay.
The same
You're
thing. I've
saying that
changed
you
it.
have pitched
I've
the idea.
paraphrased.
Okay. Not the sequence of the
I
idea,
have
but the idea
basically
itself.
stolen your credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a tough situation. And in the meeting, I haven't spoken.
No. You've spoken. You pitched your idea.
Yeah.
But I've stolen credit. I'm stealing credit.
Okay.
Or maybe let me make it easier for you. Okay.
No, it's okay. Let me try.
No. So imagine we had a team huddle internally.
Okay.
We discussed it. You pitched an idea which was great. I am probably the same level as you. And then in the meeting, I come and I give that idea.
Okay.
No. This is easier. Okay. I present that idea. I don't essentially mention out of the way that it's yours.
Okay.
Which
you
means
don't give
everybody
credit
else, the larger group, understands that it's my idea.
Okay.
The upper level management and the stakeholders understand it's mine.
Okay. this is a tough situation because there
Yeah.
is no proof that it's my idea.
No, there
Um,
were other people in the team
huh,
and all
yeah,
that.
there were
That
other
doesn't
people.
matter. It doesn't forget proof and all. This has happened. Someone stole your credit. How
Okay.
are you going to react or respond?
Aarti has come up with a great idea. Actually, during our team huddle, we had discussed this idea, and as ABC knows, I had spoken about it, and she has presented it in a good way, and it is a great idea, which I had spoken to her about, and she has told you guys and presented it to you. So I think we should.
Yeah, so like I said, this XYZ is exactly how you're going to go about it. And I have 3 reasons why it should go this way.
XYZ is the.
No, I'm just.
Actually, you are in between talking. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. XYZ. Yeah. I agree, Aarti. Thank you for pointing that out. As we had discussed in our meeting, which we had before, I had said that we should go about it in this manner. And I'm glad that you put it across to the management and everyone regarding this idea. And I'm seeing that they are liking the idea. So I'm very happy.
Okay, so you're going in the right direction. Again, the biggest mistake you're making is that you're being redundant. You're being repetitive of the same point.
Okay.
Right? You're sounding nervous. Right? That's what you shouldn't do. When
Okay,
someone
like
steals
nervous
credit,
in the sense how?
yeah,
The shouldn't be there.
and the repetition.
Right now, I'm
right?
doing
When-
the because I'm trying to think about it.
I
Anyway,
know.
Yeah,
I know.
no, I
Just keep
understand.
this in mind when it happens. Every one of you, right? When someone steals credit, the approach you took, Kavita, was spot on. You thank this person, right? You go out of your way. You thank this person for spotlighting your idea. That's the way to go. That's a little bit of passive aggression, all right. But that's the way to go. That's how you deal with it in a diplomatic manner. So, but again, if you're not consolidating your speech, it's not going to work, right? You again consolidate. You tell them, thank you so much for spotlighting your idea. And I'm glad you all like it today. We had an extensive discussion about it yesterday, and I presented 3 key points. Those were this, and this.
Okay.
Right? So structure it, present it with confidence. Don't ever repeat. Right? The moment you start stammering, the moment you start using fillers like and the moment you start repeating, it comes off as nervous. It comes off as less confident. No one's gonna buy the idea of a person who's not confident. Right? The whole reason why this person's stealing your credit is because they know you're gonna squirm
mess up in the while I'm trying to,
you're gonna squirm a little bit to stand up for yourself. They are taking that liberty.
Okay.
So it's time to give it back to them strategically. This is a time to be practical, not emotional. Right? So thank you so much for participating, Swati and Kavita. Sorry, Shruti and Kavita. Right? Thank you so very much. And thank you so much for joining in today. I'm so glad that I had this time with you guys. You guys are very special to me because you guys are my first batch of effective communication 1 at First Shakti, and this is the first cohort, and I'm so glad it was with you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the session, you learned a thing or two from it. I'm going to drop my contact details again on the chat box. One's my LinkedIn, another is my Instagram, and another is my TalkMate page. Let me just give you a quick, sneak peek of my TalkMate page, so you can look at all my services. And just now,
Aarti,
it's not loaded.
you can unpin me.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Right. You are not pinned anymore. I am also removing your spotlight. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is it clearly visible to you guys now? Right. So my TalkMate page has a lot of services, and specifically a salary negotiation webinar that will be very useful for you. This is not the final price. If anybody is interested, I can give you a discount code that will help you attend this session for a much slashed price that's slashed by more than 50 to 70% depending on the time you reach out to me. So do reach out to me and go check out my top page. And thank you very much. Bye bye. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you have any feedback, please stay back and give it to me.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Aarti. Swati here from Harki.
Oh, hi, Swati. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry
hi,
I didn't
Aarti.
respond to your emails. I've been spammed.
So this was a very, I can see this was a very interesting session. It was, and I hope all the ladies would also enjoyed the session.
I
Yeah,
am glad.
yeah.
I'm
And
glad.
thank you, ladies, for joining in the session.
Thank you
So
so much for
Mhm.
joining in. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Aarti. It feels weird to say my own name, but thank you very much for your very kind words on the comment box. Thank you, Payaswini. Thank you, Rashmi, Anjana, Kavita, Pratibha, Rashmi. Thank you so very much. Did you all enjoy the session? Did you learn anything new? Do you feel more confident? Say something, guys. It's effective communication. It's time to show that you can communicate.
Yes, we did. We enjoyed.
Thank you so very much.
And as Avneet rightly pointed out, you are a really jovial person. We had fun. It was like communicating with a friend.
Thank
It was
you.
nice.
Thank you
Thank you for
so
the
very
session.
much. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you
was quite
justified
nervous.
what I
I'm
said.
going to take that I'm a good actor now, but I pretended to be confident. Yeah. Alternate career option.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, I introduced you correct, right?
Thank you, Avni. Thank you so much. All right, thanks, guys. Hey, should we all take a picture? Come on, you're my first batch. Everyone turn your camera on and put your best smile. Come on, I'm probably gonna frame it and like put it up there. Come on, yes, Avneet, my reliable lieutenant in charge. Okay, come on, Kirti, Shruti, Sai Lakshmi, Shantala, Swati from Harki, to whom I haven't responded. Don't take revenge now. Turn your camera on. Veronica, everybody, come on, show me your beautiful faces. Right, Rajini Kanta. I am not able to see you either. Sahiti, Payaswini, come on. I'm gonna count to 5, and then we're gonna click that picture, right? Okay, that will set off the light a little. Okay.
You're
That.
looking pretty, don't worry.
In 3, 2, 1, you can either say cheese or you can say my name. Anything that ends with a big fat E, okay? 3, 2, 1, and give me a sign. Awesome sauce. Thank you so very much for joining in. Oh, there's another page of people I probably did not click. Anyway, I'm just sharing this picture with Avneet. She'll share it with you. Do put it on LinkedIn. Do tag me and tell the world that you can communicate effectively and tell the world that you're ready to get back into the workforce and slay all those dragons, right? So, yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a lovely Monday ahead.
Thank you so much, Aarti. We'll see you soon again.
Yes.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone, for
Thank you,
joining in this
Aarti.
time.
Bye.
Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Aarti. Thanks for the
Bye.
session.
Thank you.